and welcome to BrightIAM. I'm Lucy Black and I am absolutely delighted to be joined here today by three fantastic fellas. We have got the whole Sea to Summit Kidscape Kilimanjaro team. We have Josh, hello Josh in the building, we've got Ollie and we've got the lovely Sam. Hello. Guys, how are you today? It's so lovely to have you here.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah. It's great.
It's great.
We know who Josh is because recently we had our lovely podcast with Andrew and you are an ambassador of Kidscape. But we are here today to talk to you three about something quite incredible that you're doing. So, Sea to Summit. What does it mean? What is this extension on this adventure?
Blame him.
I know. Well, this is probably quite good. Let's start where this started. So,
it was.
Tell us, Josh. Come on.
Yeah. So it was. I came up with this idea because I on one of my polar training courses before I went to Antarctica, I was in a tent with another guy from Japan called Sato, and he's going around the world doing the highest mountain in every continent from sea to summit.
Right.
And so I thought that it would be, I was thinking of what could we do extra with this Kilimanjaro just to make it super special. And I thought to myself, it'd be great to do like something like go from sea to summit. But as we've all got kids and big families, our time is under pressure. And actually I was like, well, maybe we could cycle. So we could touch the water and then we could cycle. And that would probably take about 3 or 4 days.
Yep.
And then it evolved into like, well, if we're touching the water, I quite like swimming. So why don't we just turn it into a triathlon to the top of Kilimanjaro?
Do you know what? Why not? Like, why not? You're going to climb a mountain, just do a triathlon as well.
Why not? Yeah. You know, warm up before we get to the start line. So,
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I hate swimming and I hate cycling.
I just say like...
How are you at walking? Are you all right?
Yeah, exactly. That's got me...
Up very steep slopes, up to 6,000 metres. You're
exactly.
okay with that?
I'm all right with that bit.
So how did Josh get you guys involved? Perhaps explain your relationship to Josh. Is he just some random fella who approached you on the street? How do you guys know him?
Almost. No. I met Josh and his amazing wife Kiki at an NCT class. So both our wives were pregnant at the same time. And I think from an energy perspective, personality perspective, me and Josh were very similar, and also our wives hit it off. So
perfect. That's lovely.
I saw him do all his challenges, and I love a challenge myself. But yeah, it came, and he obviously did his Antarctic walk, which was just incredible. Watching him train for that and do all that sort of thing, and then I saw him post the Kilimanjaro thing, and I thought, amazing. I always wanted to do that. It's a bucket list thing to do. And to do it with Josh would be amazing. So
yeah, and actually you signed up straight away and paid in full. You were like, I'm in.
I'm in.
I love the thing because Ollie was like messaging me and I was like, can anyone do this? I was like, yeah, 100%. I was like, this is brilliant. I never normally get this reaction. Everyone's like, oh, there's another silly challenge. Yeah. But it's brilliant. I love the fact that you just like, yeah, I'm 100% in. I'm brilliant.
I'm
in.
And
it's so, you've got so much energy. So it just helped to amplify everything. It was brilliant.
You come with a lot of energy, and I think that's what you three are going to need.
Nervous energy, I think is what it's called.
And what about yourself then, Sam? How do you know Josh?
Wow,
how did you get into this?
We met through a mutual friend, probably around 20 years ago.
Right.
And subsequently, we've learned that actually our families go back a few generations. So our fathers went to primary school together, didn't they?
That's right.
And our daughters are the same age. They're in the same class together at the same school.
Oh, wow.
And, just recently, about 4 years ago, we were having a coffee. I was over at his house. And we realised that we went to the same primary school together. But because I'm 4 years older than Josh, we didn't meet each other at the time. But we would have probably crossed over at Yardley Court for 1 year. So we actually, our families and our lives are more intermeshed than we even realised.
I think that's lovely.
But we bonded through doing some climbing in Scotland initially, and then we climbed the Matterhorn together.
Right.
And then, me being a bit of a fanboy of Josh, I've got, if you notice, I've got his...
look at
his T-shirt, JB.
Oh, no.
JB with the, this is the outline of the Antarctic.
It's great. Don't tell them how much I'm asking.
Big
how much I'm giving you money to put you wearing.
I can't wait to learn.
Yeah. You got to earn it. It's a black top.
Checks in the post, I imagine. Yeah, right. Yeah, so and then we climbed Matterhorn. We've done a bit of skiing together, and then I followed him over to Hurstpier Point. But yeah, I've, many years, actually most of that time, I've been living overseas. So I'm a humanitarian aid worker.
Yep.
And have worked in East Africa before, and other parts of the world. So this is a fantastic opportunity to do something which is really out of my comfort zone. My physical challenges have been more short bursts, intensity type things like boxing. So doing something over 2 weeks that requires a lot of endurance.
And a lot of training beforehand, I should
A
add.
lot of training,
Yes.
something which I am not entirely used to.
I did notice you all walked in a little bit stiff and crooked, actually. Has this training started?
That was just getting up the stairs. So God help us.
It's just how I walk. So how, Sam, did you get pulled in or invited in or join Kidscape Kilimanjaro? Did you see Josh talking about it? How did it happen?
Well, I supported Josh a little bit around the edges, and I was sort of flirting with the idea of seeing if I could join him on one of his earlier trips to the Antarctic, but it was way out of my reach. But I really love the charity Kidscape.
Sure.
And I think the cause of bullying is incredibly important. My own reflection on bullying really is, it plays out in different ways. So if you think about it being a form of harmful behaviour where people are willingly making the choice to harm another person.
Yes.
When you take that to a national and international level, I mean, that's essentially what my work involves, is dealing with the fallout of that. So when you take that to places like Sudan, Syria, many places like Myanmar that I've worked, that looks like genocide. That looks like people being mutilated. That looks like gang rape. It causes, at whatever level, causes horrific harm, and it's something. This dark side of human behaviour, which seemingly all human beings are capable of in certain circumstances. We do need to stand up for that. So I do. I believe in the cause.
And to be able to champion it and to be able to talk about it, because this is something that we keep returning to. It's about sharing awareness about the cause. And I mean, Josh, you were actually yesterday in primary schools doing talks about your adventures and the cause. There's more than just fundraising here, and it's the impact of that awareness and getting conversations started. Well, you're all champions. You are.
Well, I think as it's anti-bullying week this week, I think it's so important. I used to be scared to talk about me being bullied, and I just hid away from that conversation, and I think in a way talking about it is a bit of a healer for me personally, but also I think when I've been going into the schools and stuff, if I can say that's what's happened to me, and these kids look up and think, wow, this is quite a cool adventure, then it helps them to be able to sort of see that light at the end of the tunnel, or be able to talk about it, and also for people to react better to each other and be kind, and hopefully it creates a bit of a positive mindset for the youngsters. They can see that, and then hopefully that just means that the ripple effects continue, and there's a better positivity in schools.
Yes.
So yeah, it's one of those things where you go into the schools and you actually see that's the really sort of important message, and these challenges I do is just really for me to sort of raise awareness, or for us to raise awareness for Kidscape's work, but also then go that sort of the next step, which is to tell those kids that this is what we're doing and we're supporting you.
And inspire them. Josh, you are inspiring more than children on this. You're inspiring thousands of people through your story sharing, through your adventures. You really are. And you seem to be recruiting some crazy people along the way.
I'm just grateful to have some others, so that it's just not, the light is not on me. It's all three of us.
Well, you're lucky you've got these friends, these long-standing friends.
It's amazing. And I think what's really special is, with Sam, I've managed to convince to start cycling at the beginning of this year. Ollie, saying, right, let's do this, and it's great to just see the energy, the focus, and then everyone sort of just buying into, wow, this sounds such a cool expedition and sort of exciting challenge that's we can fit into 2 weeks. So
So
super
talking
excited.
about fitting it in, I think
Yeah.
what people listening would want to know. I mean, climbing Kilimanjaro is a massive task on its own. How does it work with the route, the arrival times, the distance? I mean, shed some light on this. What are you boys actually doing?
So in a nutshell, we've expanded it to as far as we can probably expand it. But basically,
Please don't expand it anymore.
No, I promise I won't add any more extra challenges. Or maybe we could actually.
No.
Maybe, no. So we're going to swim 3.8 kilometre swim in the sea.
Right.
Out from Tanga, which is on the east coast, just north of Dar es Salaam. So when I was researching, I could see that we could go from Tanga. The road. So we're going to do that. We're going to go from around Toten Island, which is a little island off Tanga. We're just making sure with the local team that there's nothing too dangerous in the sea, like sharks and jellyfish.
Hold on a minute. Come on. Are they going to? What are they going to do? Are they going to give you a safer space to swim?
We're going to have to. Unfortunately, there isn't a huge amount we can do before we go. We can't.
I'd
sort of
rather
go
not
over
know,
that.
Josh. I
Yeah,
think
it's fine.
leave that discovery team
Josh,
out of it. It's just
Can we clarify though? There will be a safety boat.
Yeah, there'll be a safety
That
boat.
they'll be going along with the slower swimmers at the back, and the faster swimmers, i.e., triathlete, will be at the front, a little bit beyond the safety boat.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, it might make us swim a little bit quicker anyway. So there's an upside to a shot. But no. I think as far as I'm aware, we're pretty safe. So we do that. Then we've got to get on the bikes and we've got to cycle 450 kilometres.
Right.
Sadly, it's not a straight line from Tanga to Kilimanjaro. We've got to go down a little bit and then across. But of course,
I know. It's
sorry,
just
but
he's left the detail out of all of
Straight
this.
line, boys. No.
No idea what I signed up for.
And just to make it a little bit difficult, when we get to Moshi, which is kind of the sort of main town by Kilimanjaro,
Right.
we've actually got to go. That's at kind of, if you think of a clock face, that's at 6 o'clock, and where we're starting is actually at 10 o'clock, which means then we've got to basically cycle halfway around the base of Kilimanjaro to get to the gate, all at the same time with gaining altitude, because we're going from sea level and the gate is at 2,000 metres, or broadly speaking,
right.
2,000 metres. So the oxygen levels are going to be less as we sort of start climbing up. So it's kind of got a multitude of sort of challenges.
So there's an incline there. So you're
Yeah.
going up.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah.
And how long are you? How many days do you expect to be cycling for? Is that a 2 day, 3
We've
day?
got 3 days to do the swim and the cycle.
Wow.
Which is 150 kilometres a day. And to break that down at a good pace at 25 kilometres to almost 30 kilometres an hour, you're looking at 6 to 7 hours worth of cycling every single day for 3 days.
Wow.
With probably circa an hour and a half.
Hour and a half swim beforehand.
Oh, so okay, so
we've got to do
oh
that.
my goodness, boys, this is
So,
quite.
yeah.
This is
So it's
very.
what
So
the
it-
first day is 9 hours worth of endurance.
Wow.
Yeah. I think one of the key things though is going to be the heat.
Yeah.
Because we can't really train for that. I mean, unless we put about 12
In the
jumpers
wi-
on or something like that.
In the winter here.
It is tricky.
Okay.
So that's going to be an interesting factor.
Yeah.
And well, both Ollie and I, we self confessed quite big sweaters.
Yeah.
Make it 3.
We've got very effective ways of cooling
Yes.
down. We're like a Formula One racing car. We can cool down very
Like the
effectively.
1960s Formula One racing car. maybe.
Well, anyway, Formula One nonetheless. But we're going to have to be taking on a lot of liquid, a lot of electrolytes,
Yes.
particularly a long day of endurance when your heart rate's probably up in the sort of
Yes.
140, 150 the whole way. So that's going to be an interesting factor. Sun beating down on you, not a
And
lot
that
of shade.
incline, you're going up.
Yeah.
The
And
oxygen.
Just to add to that, I mean, we're told that it's fairly safe, but wild animals in Africa, as we all know,
Right, so we're talking of the animals that are outside of the sea now.
Yes,
We've
that's the
forgotten
sea.
the sharks. We've survived the swim.
You survived the swim.
What are you expecting to come across on this
I
cycle?
think, look, there are no sort of
I said
natural
lions,
reserves. Yeah,
but
lions.
then I realised
there aren't any sort of natural reserves. But in theory, if there are gazelles about, there are obviously going to be predators around. So
Yes.
that's obviously a consideration. But we're told that basically there won't be too many we won't need to worry about hyenas, leopards, lions.
Just don't be the
cheetahs.
You know, I've spent a bit of time sort of camping in East Africa, and it's the things you don't expect that are the things to worry about. So the hippos are the most dangerous ones. I'm not sure if we'll come across them, but have you heard about the honey badger?
Yeah.
Yes, they
It
are
is
brutal.
the most aggressive creature ever.
They're angry.
I had a friend that fell down the hole of a honey badger.
Oh.
Didn't see him again.
Are you a bit old?
No, I'm joking. But he did fall down the hole of a honey badger. That was in Kenya, though, but neighbouring country. I'm sure they've got to watch out for the honey badgers.
I think
Survival of the fittest, basically, to the top of Kilimanjaro.
a British badger is supposed to be dangerous enough. I've got a friend that was chased up Bramber High Street by a badger.
Really?
Well, they're brutal in Bramber. I used to live down that way. Brutal badgers in Bramber. There you go.
Hence the phrase, as keen as a badger.
Well, isn't it? But aren't they? Haven't they been able to fend off tigers and lions or something malicious as that?
I'm sure you can find a good couple of videos on YouTube.
Oh, God.
Well, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll have to find out. Won't we?
You will, and will you be accompanied? So how does it work? I know the Uncharted Summit teams, our lovely Luke and Craig, are helping and sorting along the way. You're going to have a car or a van driving with you. Explain that side.
Yeah, we'll have a team with us at all times. So a local team working with us, and Luke from Uncharted Summits is going to be there with us as an extra pair of hands. And I think the important thing is obviously that we have got kilometres to do and sort of get done as quickly as possible and balance all the conditions that will be faced with it. So it sounds straightforward doing a within reason, obviously a swim and a cycle, but actually with all the elements of the heat we've talked about, the environment that we've never come across, the roads we've not even talked about. The roads, is it going to be tarmacked like the roads here, or are there going to be holes? Are the roads going to be washed away, which sometimes they are in Africa?
Right.
So the only thing we've been able to go by is the local team giving us a few footage shots of the road. And also, there's no Google Street View, so it's all satellite. I've been looking at the road and satellite just to sort of check that is definitely a tarmacked bit, but it's not all tarmac, so there's a little bit that will be slightly off-road. So
okay, so you're coming along, you've done your swim, you've done your long cycle, you're sleeping, I suppose, in tents or at little motel-y places along the way?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll have the comfort of motel or a bed, which would be great.
That would be lovely,
which would make life.
Because once you're on Kili, there's no motel.
Yeah, no.
We know this.
No.
So then you're coming along, and then say there is a obstacle in the road or a road that's closed or an issue. That route might extend. I hate to break it to you fellas, but you might have to do detours.
Walk, tour, yeah.
So is there a buffer then, fellas, for when you get to that base camp to meet the rest of the team before you go up to Kilimanjaro? What day are you expecting to arrive?
That morning.
I don't believe there's a lot built in, is there?
I built in. I'm not necessarily the best for contingency, but based on our sort of strict time frame, we leave on Monday the 26th of January. We arrive on the Tuesday the 27th. We start, and then we've got a 5-hour transit to where we start. We've then, on the Wednesday, we do the swim and the cycle. Thursday, Friday, get to, hopefully, to the gate by Friday. Then it's a transit to the hotel to meet up with the rest of the team. We should, in theory, have a rest day there. Good. But if any of the days, if we're only able to do 100 kilometres, then there's going to be that additional amount at the end. And so that's our contingency day. And then the next day, we're off and up.
And that's when you all come together with the Kidscape Kilimanjaro crew.
Yeah.
So after all of that, I really hope you get your rest day. I can't wait for the updates.
Yeah, well, I hope we're going to be looking fresh enough. So when we're meeting up with Ansia and Dan and everyone, we're not going to be absolutely shattered and be able to string a sentence together.
Well, they're going to be buzzing, aren't they? And I think we discussed this actually the other day on the podcast, Josh, that you're going to be joining and you will be tired. I mean, you're going to be physically and mentally and emotionally drained after that, but you'll also be excited because you're going to be able to join in with that next bump of energy with everybody.
Yeah.
And it is a slow climb up Kilimanjaro. And I've heard you're a very fast walker, Ollie.
Unfortunately, my ADHD will drive me very quickly wherever I go, regardless.
Keeps you going. Well, I'm hoping that pre-training, that
100% is going to slow me down.
It's going to slow you down. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
My goodness me. Okay, chaps. Well, that's brilliant. We've spoken about the challenges. Let's have a little chat about the training. So I've never done anything like this, and this is actually recognised as an Ironman. Is it not?
It's the Ironman distance, yeah.
Is it?
It's in triathlon, the Ironman distance effectively is 3.8 kilometre swim, 180 kilometre cycle, and 42k run. So a marathon to finish off with.
Okay.
We are extending it slightly in terms of doing back-to-back days of cycling, and then the climb up Kilimanjaro and back is 60, 70 kilometres, obviously.
So you're extending that quite a lot.
We are, and we're doing it over multiple days, to be fair.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I think it's one of those things that endurance. It's taking endurance over multiple days, and
Yes.
Adding other elements, as we said, like altitude and everything else, which again, and not, most triathlons and Ironmen I've done.
Sea level.
Well, it's sea level and
Yeah.
also flat grounds and, managed roads. And so
This is actually, it's actually incredible. It's incredible what you're taking on and doing. And there's such a beautiful bond between you all. How is that for training? So you're going swimming together, cycling together, walking, you're doing all of this.
Yeah, I mean, we've all got very busy lives, so we've tried to sort of tie up on a couple of days, and we had a first couple of cycle days, which were fantastic. And we're trying to encourage each other and, sort of say, what have you done today? And I think it is a bit of a personal, we've all got to sort of take our personal stance on it and work on it. But looking forward to doing a bit of swimming with these guys, maybe later actually.
Yeah.
Oh, you're having a little dip later, fellas?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna do a bit of swimming. I mean, so Josh is the strongest swimmer because he does triathlons, and I've heard that swimming is your strongest of the
Look
three
at the length of him.
disciplines.
It's got
Evidently, yeah.
legs and arms like that. It's like one
You
stroke
can't,
to
you
every
can't
5
really
of
fail
us.
to fail to be that good. Whilst I think I'm a good swimmer because I did a lot of swimming sort of prior to the age of 12.
With
But then
armbands.
actually when it comes
Did your
when
mum
it-
say you were a good swimmer,
She did,
Dad?
Mum.
Yeah.
When we said, very special. But then actually, when it comes to it, doing front crawl continuously and getting the breathing right,
Yes.
it's not as easy as I remember. And doing that continuously for 3.8 kilometres. So it has been a bit of a journey, breaking myself in and getting used to, the breathing technique and everything. So that's probably one of the biggest challenges for me. And I mean, I think also, the endurance side of things is incredible, isn't it? Because 150 kilometres is a lot of a long way to go, a lot of energy expelled. And it's one thing doing that for one day, but then getting up the next day and doing it again, and the next day and doing it again.
And it
when
is that
you're
day on
exhausted.
day. And I think that's what the training needs to accommodate as well. Have you guys, I mean, Ollie, I don't know, I know that you've climbed mountains, Sam. I don't know if I've read up about you, Ollie. What have you done before that could be similar?
Oh, good question. So my last challenge that I did was last year, and I did the something called the fan dance,
Right.
which is the final entry point to get into one of the special forces, either SAS, SBS, or whatever it is.
Wow.
And basically, it's over the penny fan, and you have to carry a full kit bag, Bergen, full of, I think it's 50 pounds, which I think that's right, 50 pounds. 25 or 26, 27 kilos, I think it is. And you've got to complete it in a certain time.
Right.
If anybody knows the penny fan, it's got something called the Jacob's Ladder on it. And so it's about 80% through that trek, it's literally a vertical climb. Again, we chose to do the summer one because we thought the weather would be better, but in good old Welsh fashion, in weather, there was 25 mile an hour winds and rain.
Wow.
And so, it's a real test of everything. So everything you do going uphill, you walk. Everything you do coming downhill, you run. And as I said, you've got to try and get it in under 4 hours in order to be able to qualify for that.
And that's all in those adverse weather conditions. So you're
100%,
battling.
yeah.
How is that mentally? Like, I haven't ever done anything. I keep meaning to do a tough mudder, and that's as far as it goes. You said something about a dance then. I thought, well, I'll do that. I've got the moves. This doesn't sound like my kind of dancing, honey. How did you feel mentally preparing for that?
Yeah, I think it's it's a really interesting subject, and funny enough, when you go and do long exhibitions like what you're doing, you have a lot of time to think and you reflect, but you also end up talking, right? And it's interesting, even now at home, if the weather's not great or if I'm not getting out, I'm sitting on my Peloton for 2 to 3 hours, and it's funny how your mind starts to kind of not necessarily take over you, but I think the instant relatability, and this is why when attaching it to Kidscape anti-bullying, I think, the subject itself is very much about resilience, right? And I think, saying something quite controversial here, in that, I was bullied. I wouldn't necessarily, it was very intense bullying, but, unfortunately my family didn't come from money, and so I didn't necessarily have the best trainers. I always remember my parents begging my parents to buy me a pair of Nikes for Christmas, and they said, yes, we're going to get you these Nikes for your Christmas, blah, 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 blah. And they ended up getting me, and I went to school going, yeah, I'm getting some Nikes and all this sort of thing. And they ended up getting me a pair of Nicks. And so I then had to face the school, face everything then, and being like, and I know this doesn't, it sounds...
No,
this is minimal, but
it's
and I think it's going through things like that, and so. But the point I'm trying to make about resilience, and when I'm doing things like this, a lot of my reflection is, do you know what? All I want to do when I'm doing this cycle, all I want to do is just give up now, and it's the mindset and the mental resilience that drives you through that I think is very relatable to bullying, right? Because I think a bully is trying to wear you down. They're trying to, knock the confidence out of you and kind of make you feel inferior or small, whatever it is. And I think, the ability to be able to really think, and build a strong mindset is everything. And so I actually think about, and this is the controversial point that I'm trying to make, is that actually, I look back on that bullying, I actually think of who it's created me as a person. My mental resilience and my ability to be able to face adversity as well as facing challenging times and doing things like this. So, it's tough, as I said, as I said, we're doing 2 to 3 hour blocks of training at the moment, and that's a third of what we've got to do. So we've got to break half hour, we've got to do it again, and then do it again, and then do it 3 days in a row.
It's going to take a lot of mental.
It's going to, but again, having good people around you, people you can talk to, and again, probably in an environment that's going to be new to us, with the things that we're going to be able to see and all that sort of thing, are going to be really, really hard. So I don't know if I've answered your question.
Do you know what, Ollie?
I waffled about 100 words there,
do you know
but
what?
make sense of that.
It's actually been lovely to hear you speak on the subject of bullying and mental resilience, and I think that's a really key message. So we'll have people listening to these podcasts that are part of the Climb, supporters of Kidscape, and people perhaps our friends, and actually we all need to show that vulnerability, that we have been touched by something like bullying in our lives, and reflecting on how it's made you who you are today, and actually why we're all here doing these wonderful things. I think it's really important. I'm proud of you sharing that. I'm proud of your resilience. You're going to need that. It's good.
Thank you.
So
but I think it's that again, it's that focus. And if anybody ever asked me for what advice, and I think it's easy for me to say it, and I think some people have strong, naturally strong mindsets where they've got that resilience, and some don't. And so we hear about depression a lot, and it's obviously very prevalent in the world today. And it's easy, some people, for somebody who's got a very positive mindset like me, that when you think about depression, you start thinking about these sort of things like, oh, just go and get it. You know what I mean? Go and prove everybody wrong. Go and kind of, but when your resilience is low, it's very hard, or if you are suffering with depression, it's very hard to get yourself out of that hole. I think finding something that you're passionate about, that you can focus on, that ends up being your anchor, not to the negative things that are going on, but going out and achieving something, you create yourself this kind of, this leverage with yourself to be able to say, do you know what? I'm really focused on this, I'm doing well at this. And that creates the positivity to then kind of outweigh, do you know what's going on negative in my world? I can park that because I'm generating all this positivity in something over here. So
and
I think
the physical side, I think that there's been many studies done on mental health, and that taking physical action, walking, exercising, lifting weights, whatever it is you do, there's always so many options. That's really good for your
I think it starts with talking, doesn't it? That's the most important thing. First of all, to be able to admit what's going on and being able to have somebody to talk to. And I think going out and doing walks, if you're going out and walking for 3-4 hours, you can talk about what you did this week. You can talk about all the kind of, things that are going on, but then it gets to a point, what else have we got to talk about?
Yeah.
And you find yourself opening up about the weirdest of stuff.
Do you? Oh, I want to
Oh my
I want to be a little
God.
bird on your shoulder listening.
Oh,
to
you
all
do?
this.
I think we got to it in that walk, even just we're doing 13K the other day, and I remember kind of getting quite deep and meaningful with you. And you, we were talking about, obviously, ADHD.
We found out that we both, have ADHD and, which medications were the best ones and how we deal with it and everything.
But again, you get to a point where you probably end up opening up to people, and I think, as I said, for mental health generally, it's an amazing thing to do.
Talking is such an important thing. It really is. And so there'll be lots of conversations happening on that mountain in our lovely group of participants. And actually, from talking about the power of resilience and being strong, what I think you three should also know is that you are three very alpha, strong, handsome. Look at you handsome
Stop
fellas.
it.
Oh, you
Stop
know
it.
you
Stop
are.
it. Stop.
And-
All right, then.
Oh, come on,
Just a bit.
but you are actually a shining example to young people who perhaps are going through that awkward stage that we all did, teenage stage, or perhaps they're feeling that they're being victimised and being bullied. And that resilience you spoke of, Ollie, as well. Like these young people can look at you and think, wow, well, I don't mind. If they've been through it, then maybe I'll be okay. And that's beautiful.
100%.
It's definitely about, I think, I've seen with kids, it's giving that kind of light at the end of the tunnel, just hang in there, and that build, often on expeditions or whatever adventures, challenges I've done, it is about just hanging in there. I've done some cycle challenges where it's pouring with rain, you start at 6 a.m, you're finishing at 10 p.m, miserable, wanting to just fall off my bike so I could go in the blood wagon at the back. Actually, it's just like pushing through that. And I think, as horrible as bullying is, it's really important that we get across to young children, like, don't give up. And I think actually that's the last thing we want, because that saves lives.
Yes.
Keep that light at the end of the tunnel. And I suppose what I've kind of learned from getting in touch, starting to be an ambassador for Kidscape, but sort of wanting to raise money and awareness, was that kids need that. But actually, what was amazing I noticed the ripple effects with people, adults, older, younger, coming to me and saying, "Do you know what, I was bullied at school, and
Right.
or I knew this, and I can see that." And it's, I think, probably 20 years ago or 25 years, whatever it was ago, things weren't talked about so openly as they are now.
No.
And actually, I think there's a lot of healing to be done with people that are much older, like our age, older. And I'm hoping that the mountain is just is that kind of source of good energy where everyone's being able to open up and talk and being vulnerable. And we can just create a bit of a positive change and a mindset that then they can go back and their friends can talk to them about it. And it's, just putting it further and ripple effect out.
Yeah.
So.
And I've heard as well, I've not been to Africa, and I know you spent some time there, Josh and Sam. Have you, Ollie? Have you been to Africa?
No.
I've lived 8 or so years of my life in different parts of Africa.
Okay, but I've heard it's a very magical place. There's a real love, and that mountain is magical. Like, there's something there. Yeah.
I spent 6 months in Tanzania 20 years ago, and it creates you feel it in your heart. The love and the warmth of those Tanzanians are so special, and it's just incredible, raw, beautiful, stunning country. Well, Tanzania is, and then obviously the continent as well of Africa, which is fantastic. So super excited.
Yeah, taking in all the sights.
It does open your eyes to just an entire another way of life and being, but culturally, but of course geographically as well, because Kilimanjaro is obviously a volcano.
Right.
So it's not a mountain range where you've got like the Himalayas or the Alps. It's relatively flat, and then it rises up from the lowlands, which is incredible.
And you've climbed Kilimanjaro before.
I did climb
Yes,
Kilimanjaro.
now I remember.
in around 2003. 2003.
So that's
Yes.
actually, see, when I see a movie come up on the TV and it says 2003, I think, oh, that's quite new.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
Works out it's not.
Do you?
Works out it's not anymore.
Yeah.
So what challenges, Sam, do you think you'll have on this trip that maybe you didn't have at the 2003 one?
Well, to be honest, I found it pretty tough in 2003.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not the best with high altitude.
Okay.
Above, so this is, it goes to around 6,000 metres. I know, so I've done quite a bit of trekking in the Himalayas and been around sort of 5,000 to 6,000 metres in Pakistan, Nepal, India, and obviously Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. And I know above 4,000 I start to suffer and get a bit of altitude sickness. So I know it's going to be tough for me,
Right.
basically.
And what does that look like? How does that feel to you, that altitude sickness? What kind of symptoms?
Dizziness,
Right.
lethargy.
Okay.
When it starts to get quite bad, you get pulmonary edema. So that's you get liquid on the lungs, you start coughing,
Whoa.
and then you get edema in your brain. So that's sort of liquid in the brain, and you get a very bad headache.
Okay.
There's medication you can take as a prophylactic beforehand to mitigate that.
I recommend that for you,
Diamox.
Sam.
So I think I may well take that.
Have a couple of tablets, love.
Yeah, so I'll
Yeah.
might double drop.
Yeah.
We'll see.
No, we've got
Keep it coming.
lovely Alison, who's our mountain doctor, UK
yeah.
mountain doctor. So I'm
She'll
gonna
be my
saying-
best buddy.
She will. She's going to be keeping an eye on you.
Yeah. No, I'm all good. I'll just. You know, when we're up the top, everyone will be like, "Oh, isn't this amazing?" And I'll be like, "It's lovely. Let's
You
go
boys,
down."
you're going to have to make sure he gets to that summit. You're going to have to
Yeah.
come out. Did you reach the summit last time?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I did.
so
I did.
it's all you.
I did.
Yeah.
But I was in my early 20s. I am now. Well, as of in a few months, I shall be 45 years old. So you know, there's been a few physical changes. You know, evolution to the body in that time, shall we say?
Regardless of the
Positive or
evolution, we're not going to go too much into that. I think our mental strength, as we get older, we become more resilient in ourselves. We start to know ourselves more, don't we? So that's going to help. I'm going to call Alison as soon as this podcast is over. I've just got on my note here something that you mentioned actually, Ollie, weeks ago when we first spoke, months ago. You said that in your industry, which perhaps you could tell people that are listening, there's a saying that you're just going to go flip-flop into the top of Kilimanjaro.
Yeah.
Can you just talk around that?
It's a really interesting one. So, I've got an executive search practice, which is recruitment in technology sales. And when you start to look at the personality traits as well as the attribute traits of high-performing individuals, two things that stand out are, one major thing that stands out is the grit. And so lots of my clients, and one of my clients actually, as you've just said, has built kind of a phrase around it, which is flip-flopping around Kilimanjaro. And the meaning of that is that somebody that's been able to stick a pair of flip-flops on and climb Kilimanjaro, you know, it takes a certain mindset, it takes a certain, you know, element of grit to be able to go and do those sort of things. So
It's not going to phase them. Nothing's going to phase them.
Exactly. They'd pick up and do anything. And so it is a very interesting kind of, I suppose, attribute. And I think for anybody doing it, it's something that you should put on your resume, because it shows that you've been able to apply yourself and achieve something which is, you know, slightly outside the norm.
And take it in your stride. And that's
100%,
and that's actually how I feel with you three. I mean, I always have with you. But actually reflecting on that, we're talking about this momentous challenge. And we're also talking about things that are very emotive, you know, from our past, and coming together and almost leading as well. I mean, we've got our ambassadors leading this climb. Josh, you're certainly leading this Sea to Summit. You're in the front.
Well,
You're warding
let's
off
see.
all the sharks.
Let's talk about this once we're back. They'll be dragging me up.
Oh, no.
See, it's going to be really interesting. And I know we're going to be capturing some video content from the Sea to Summit. And as you all know, we're doing our documentary as well on the mountain. Sponsors. Now, we're still looking to get some sponsorship to help get your bikes across, to get your kit sorted. Is that right?
Yeah.
Who are we looking for? If people want to get behind this, how do they get involved?
Well, I think with any expedition, there's always an expense and a cost, and there's the purpose. And I think the sort of really big thing for us is that to basically bring in sponsors and people that want to be associated with supporting this special challenge and be associated with supporting Kidscape. So I think from our perspective, we need help with kit, with logistics, with nutrition. There's quite a few elements, and I think obviously we've been really keen to sort of speak to people that might want to come in and just help us. I've always thought that it might be quite cool to, if we got given some bikes, we can then auction them off when we come back and raise more money for Kidscape. So there's some great sort of charitable things that if people can come on that journey with us, we can hopefully then deliver times 3-4 times whatever the value is when we come back, especially for Kidscape.
Yeah, that's lovely, and it's a wonderful way to get your brand out there, isn't it? I mean, we're talking on top of mountains. We're talking on this epic Ironman adventure.
Yeah,
and I know that you've got you work with your partner at Knight Frank.
Yes,
and they've helped, and then also GiveStar have supported this trip.
Yeah, GiveStar helped me when I went to Antarctica, and they've been very helpful, and we're very grateful to all the sponsors and stuff. It really does make a difference because it means you're actually able to achieve those goals and those the aim of the doing Sea to Summit. So
yeah.
And if I'm not wrong, it hasn't been done before, right? This is a world first.
So hold on, Guinness. Hold on a minute now. Come on, why don't we elevate this another level? Is this Guinness World Record worthy?
Well, I think it's definitely a first, and there is a time attribute to it. So in theory, we should probably apply for a Guinness World Record. In theory,
yes, you should,
because I think world firsts don't necessarily get you a Guinness World Record, but if it's got a time or it's got the ability for someone to beat it, then. Yeah, they should. So, but yeah, we should definitely. And actually, to be fair, it's been on my list to apply.
A long list of stuff that you have to do.
Sponsored by Guinness as well. highly nutritious, apparently.
0.9. I'm sure that'll help.
If you've read Andy McNabb's book about doing the penny fan, that's what he has at night.
Really?
Guinness and chips.
There we go.
I had
training advice.
2 double sausage and egg McMuffins, which repeated on myself for the first 2 hours.
I think the drink that I'm most looking forward to when I'm in Tanzania is called a Stony Tangawizi.
Oh yes.
And now that is a ginger beer, and it is amazing. It's called a Stony Tangawizi, and
what a name.
Does it have alcohol in it?
No alcohol. Sorry to break it to you.
It's like the most wonderful ginger fizzy drink.
Oh, it's like the ultimate kick.
Good.
It's in like this brown bottle, like old school bottle. Hopefully it's still the same as it was 15, 20 years ago. But good old Stony Tangawizi.
That is so lovely. I shouldn't even try to say that.
Maybe they should be a sponsor.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're listening,
we'll
take a bottle up.
I love it so much. So just moving back to the cause that everybody is climbing for and obviously Sea to Summiting for. Sam, what about yourself? Did you have any experiences of bullying when you were a child? Have you got anything that you'd like to add around that?
I did have a few. I was... I had a few times when I was beaten up and...
Wow, okay.
So some upsetting times when I was ostracised, and I wasn't particularly good at sport, so I got left out quite a lot.
You do know this is a very sporty adventure you're about to undertake. But you were left out of sports, and then you felt you were ostracised.
I was never really good at football or any of the conventional sports that involved rackets or balls or anything like that. So that as a boy and in the schools I went to, that was something that meant that I was left out quite a bit.
You were a bit different, and this seems to happen, doesn't it?
Yeah,
that if you're a little bit different, you get that attention, that negative attention.
So I often felt like a bit of an outsider, and that knocked my confidence quite a lot as well. I've had a bit of experience of that personally. It does stay with you, and I think it's important that, you know, we do everything we can to...
And with your family, your fathers, aren't you? What a
Yes.
beautiful, beautiful thing to be a father. Wonderful. And you've got your own children now. And actually, I think that these things that happened to us all those years ago, and a point that I keep returning to when I'm talking about this story, is what has changed in all those years with bullying. I mean, we've spoken, Josh, and we're saying that actually the adults are starting to talk out more. We've got wonderful, iconic guys like you speaking about your vulnerabilities and your experiences. There's not more noise and momentum around the cause, but actually young people have got cyberbullying now. They've got different things that are just, there's other challenges. And I do believe that if we were to reflect back those 40 years when Kidscape was first brought around to support people with their resilience in bullying situations to how it is now, I don't actually think there is enough that has changed in bullying.
No.
And it's something that has touched everyone's lives and continues to. And I know that everybody on this climb has got their own story to share and to say and to feel. And some people still aren't talking about that, and that's fine, you know, no pressure. But when you have children and then you're dealing with your children, your heart goes out to them and you can see those things repeating. And the beauty of Kidscape is not only do they provide those resilience workshops, the parent advice line to look after families, they're also campaigning for change, and that is so important.
Yeah. I've got a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old, and my son goes up to my eldest 10 son goes up to senior school next year,
Right.
and I am petrified of it. And it's just, again, whether that's PTSD from my experience or whatever it may be, but I just think the world in which they live in today, as you mentioned, with digital mobile phones, before anything happened, it was a in a moment thing, and not that there's not any evidence, but it's not necessarily captured on a video, captured on a picture, and that can then be shared to the world. And once it's on that internet, you can't get rid of it. And so I definitely feel the world in which we the very digital world that we live in today, it's got to be a lot tougher.
It enhances the cruelty, doesn't it? The option to
and you can't get away from it, right? With mobile phones, social media, before you could escape, you could be at home and you've got your safe space. And without that safe space, because it's following you wherever you go.
I mean, I totally agree. And actually, I think my own personal sort of bullying was at a boarding school. So it was almost 24 hours a day, and it was quite intense. So I can imagine, if you've got, WhatsApp messages or whatever it might be, it just amplifies everything. And I think the one thing about bullying, just thinking about it, what bullying does and is, it becomes a bit of a snowball effect. And actually, that one little thing that's a joke that turns into a little bit further and goes a bit deeper, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I guess what's so important for us as adults is to teach our kids that making a change and just being kind to that person that's maybe having a tough time can just alter that snowball effect and maybe come to a bit of a pause and be dismantled, and that negative mindset then is turned on its head and is positive. And I think it's really important to kind of get that across to the young kids.
Yes.
And if they see anything like that, to really work with someone. And I know that my niece and nephews told me, my nephew told me that his friend was getting bullied, and he did something that then helped alter that sort of change. And I think by doing something positively and sort of coming alongside and supporting him, and I think that is so important in today's society, because it's very easy just to jump on the bandwagon.
Or be a bystander.
Bystander.
We can see, I can see when people are being victimised. Even look, bullying happens all through the ages, doesn't it? But having that confidence to speak out, and actually when you're a young child, maybe you've not got that, but if you've got parents or people like yourselves who are saying, actually, there's another way, there's a better way, and you can intervene. I love that, Josh. That's such a powerful message.
Yeah, it's so true. It does take an awful lot of courage, because as a young person, as an adult, you want to fit in, don't you?
Yeah.
You want to be accepted. There's a deep innate urge within all of us to be accepted by our peers and
to
others,
be
isn't
liked.
there? And in certain situations, if someone's being picked on, it's the easy thing to do can be to join in.
Or to keep quiet, just to be quiet because you don't want it to be happening to
not,
you.
Or not to do anything. But the hard thing, the courageous thing would be to stand up to that.
Yeah.
But that takes, as you're saying, a lot of education, a lot of what we're doing, I guess, starting to talk about it.
Well, it's mental maturity as well, isn't it? It's having the experience, it's being able to be mature enough to be able to do it, and kids just aren't necessarily equipped with that.
And then they can look to people like you, because you are people to look up to. You are. And not only are you lovely fellas, fathers, Sea to Summit participants, Kidscape Kilimanjaro participants, but you're all husbands as well, aren't you? And I'm sure people say to you, oh, what does your wife think about you going and doing? I'm not going to say that to you, because if I was your wife, I'd be so proud of you for taking a stand, for taking this adventure and doing what you're doing.
I'm allowed. My wife's currently in Sri Lanka on a work trip.
Well, then
she's an aid
that's
worker
all right.
as well. So I've bought my token on the mountain. she was in South Africa just a few weeks ago. So I'm like, I'm so there. I'll go early. Go early, leave late.
I think it's important. I think it's important, and I think a lot of what I've seen of people joining in and getting involved is actually their other halves saying, wives or husbands, whatever, might say, yeah, go for it. It's once in a life time.
Yeah.
And I think, do you know what? It's so easy to say, I'll do it when I'm older, or I'll do it when the kids have finished school, or whatever it might be, or there might be an easier time. I'm too busy. I've obviously been trying to recruit as many people this time because it's so nice.
So well.
But I think it is. Like, there's the here and now. Let's live life now to the full, and let's try and do something and change. And look, we are crazy busy. You know, running around, racing, dropping kids off.
Yeah.
It's,
you can find an excuse. Anybody can find an excuse not to do something.
Yeah.
And which again, the thing you procrastinate over doing something for a certain amount of time. Just press that button, go on there, sign up to it.
Sign up,
you're
pay
in.
Sign up.
You're done.
Get
You're
a bike,
done.
learn to swim.
Exactly
Come on,
that.
off
Then you're
we
in.
go.
Exactly
I mean,
that.
Josh is such a good example of this, though. I mean, having 4 children, twins who are now 2...
Nearly 3.
Nearly 3, I should know that. I'm the godfather of one of them. Nearly 3,
Nearly 3.
absolutely.
So I'll let you off.
Yes. And, everything else that's going on in life at this time of life, juggling jobs, both you and Kiki, your wife, work. It's a heck of a lot, isn't it? But you're still doing all this.
Yeah. And Josh,
it's
if you can do it, with that busyness, and actually making the most out of this time when you boys are strong, you fellas are in your peak. Yeah, no excuses. You're taking it on. Yeah. So just before we wrap up here today, I think I would really, really like for you to share perhaps a message to anybody who might be considering doing their own adventure. It doesn't have to be for bullying prevention. It could just be to get something done in that stage of their life. Josh, maybe you first. What would you say to somebody who's maybe considering doing something quite wild like you?
Well, I think whether it's a challenge or whether you want to sign up to our climb Kilimanjaro, it goes back to that point. It is, it's an adventure here and now. It's perfectly set up for anyone to just come into the fold. It's such a lovely bunch of people. Yeah. And I think it's all about opportunities in life. And if you don't grab these opportunities, they won't come around necessarily again as quickly. And I think it's an opportunity of a lifetime. Of course, you could do it later in life. Of course, you could do it, next year or whenever it is. But now's a brilliant opportunity to sort of get involved. And such lovely guys, and I'm chuffed a bit that these guys are coming with us. And so many other friends and friends that we're making throughout this trip already before we even got on the mountain. So seize the day.
You picked a couple of good eggs here, Josh. You've done a good job. What about yourself, Ollie? What would you share to somebody?
So I think, it's like anything. I love going to the gym. I think giving yourself purpose and working towards something, those days that you do have that little, weakness in mental resilience, you don't have a choice. Like yesterday, the last thing I tried to put in 2 long cycles per week, and yesterday I knew I've got family plans and everything. I had to get it into my time yesterday, and I could have given every single excuse to not do it. And should I not have this challenge, I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, okay.
I would have put it off, and it would have moved on till next week. I probably wouldn't even entered into it. So I think you find yourself taking yourself out your comfort zone by doing something like this, in my opinion, and it gives you purpose to do something. And once you then go and plaster it all over LinkedIn, you're committed and there's no turning back.
Once it's out on socials.
Once it's out of the socials, there's no backing out.
It's funny because Anthea, when she jumped onto the call with the Uncharted Summit boys on the podcast before, she said very much the same, actually, that every now and then you should get a challenge and something you're looking to, because then when you think, I might just have an extra hour in bed rather than a gym workout, you know you can't, because you've got that ticking. So it's really good. It's good for your physical and mental health.
100%.
Yes, we love it.
Especially in the winter when it's so dark, it's dark and it's wet. You just need that kind of some purpose.
Yeah, purpose. And what about yourself, Sam? What would you say?
Purpose, absolutely.
Okay, purpose.
Purpose, absolutely. Yeah. I think in particular, there is a human tendency to look inwards, to to be complaining about the situation we've got, and it's a tough world. We've all got a lot of stuff going on, right?
Yeah.
But putting yourself in a situation where you are looking outwards, you're heading towards a goal actually, which is outward looking. It's to support a much wider cause, to combat bullying, and of course the physical side of it as well. Doing something for yourself. I suffered with ADHD, anxiety, 20 years of not sleeping. I probably haven't slept more than, had a good night's sleep, or more than 3 or 4 good night's sleeps in a row for 20 years,
Wow.
But exercise is one of the things that helps a lot. And I think, doing that for myself, but also, we're a nation that needs to get more active, aren't we?
Yeah.
So I think, a bit of an example and, a bit of a message to others, it is great to get active, and it's not just a good thing that, you can or can't do.
Well, it's good for your longevity of life, of health, of mental, yes, everything.
But I think purpose is something, having a purpose in life, and I've realised this, I'm fortunate that my job, my vocation as a humanitarian aid worker, providing life-saving assistance in war zones and natural disasters, has a lot of purpose. I'm very much driven by that, and that's very, I understand that's very fortunate thing to have. And similarly with this, the motivation that comes from that, you can't put a price on that.
No.
You can't buy purpose.
No.
Purpose is what keeps you going. And there was a very interesting study I read about where a few thousand people were asked who were in their 70s, do you want to live to 100? And those that said yes they did live to 100 or very close, and those that didn't. I think they were living with cancer.
Oh, right,
and those that had it fought through and lived through for a lot longer.
That's quite interesting,
it was
isn't
fantastic,
it?
but purpose is so powerful, and I'm sure there's lots of other scientific studies out there that show what impact that has.
So I suppose it's find your purpose. Maybe climbing Kilimanjaro isn't a dream of XYZ. Maybe it's not bullying prevention. Perhaps it's another cause or another purpose, something that's touched someone's life. Find your purpose and go and be like the Sea and Summit boys and get it. Go on, the boys, the Sea and Summits. I love it. Bless you. Thank you so much for sharing your stories and your adventure with us. I would like to ask you all for afterwards, when we've climbed, I'm not on the mountain, after Kilimanjaro, after this Sea to Summit adventure, you'll come back here and you'll tell us all about it. The sea, the cycle, the summit, and everything that follows.
Be delighted to. Nothing I'd rather do, Lucy. Nothing I'd rather do.
Good. We talk about purpose and everything. I love it. Bless you. Well, thanks, guys, so much.
Appreciate it.
So you've been listening to BrightIAM. I've had the absolute pleasure of having the Sea to Summit Kidscape Kilimanjaro team here today. Thank you so much for listening.